Thank you for joining us for another in our series of educational videos as part of the Lendlord Cross Property Tribes collab, where Property Tribes is very excited to be helping landlords discover this amazing portfolio management software known as Lendlord. And joining me from Tel Aviv in Israel is co-founder and CEO Aviram Shahar. And Aviram, for this edition, we thought that we would just kind of showcase top 5 things that we think that people should know about the platform. And some of these are, quite obvious, and then others are like, oh wow, that's really interesting. So we've come up with 5 things, and the first one is, some people, they do struggle with inputting data, etc. The first one is that there's no mandatory fields, so that essentially people can put in as much or as little data as they require. But obviously, the more data they put in, then the better and more accurate their insights.
Correct. So I think that the best way to demonstrate it is to go to the app, and I will show you an example. And this is I think that our approach is not to force nothing. You can put whatever you want. And of course, that as much data as you put, you will get more insights. So if I now add a new property, I can just put the address, okay? Click on done, and I have a new property just with an address.
Yep.
I can tweak it and add the postcode, date of purchase, the purchase price, and property value. Done. This is very important to click on done, like check what you did, and then you can go back and add more details. So for now, I just put the high level metrics of the purchase cost. I can add now the rental income, the ownership, let's say it's a private ownership, and let's put also the mortgage. Okay. So by that now, if I put the mortgage, and I would also put the rate and the mortgage cost. I can calculate it, by the way, it's easy, even if it's a capital and interest. And then when I added the mortgage part, I can see now the equity of this property.
Yeah, that's been added to the overall.
The gross cash.
Total. Yeah.
Also, you can see it on the spreadsheet here, on the row of the property. Yeah.
I think we wanted to highlight that, Aviram, because it's nothing more frustrating than you go to fill in a form and you try to save it and it won't save because a mandatory field hasn't been filled in. We're doing it this way to encourage people that they can just put in the data in their own time frame, and they don't have to put in 50 bits of information before they can press save. So it's really a way for the user to just dip in and out as they like, add more data as they like when they have time to.
Right. And now let's even deep dive into more details. Okay, so now I want to enter my expiry dates. So if let's say it's tomorrow, okay? If I now track the rate expiry date of my mortgage, click done, I can see on the insights that I have now an alert notification. I will get also to my email that I have an event that happens tomorrow that I need to do some action. You can also track any other date. And to help you with that, you have sections to enter the data. And if I will add my insurance details, now I put just the end date, let's say the 27th, then I will now get insights on my insurance renewal date. So I think that, here is it. So basically, you can start with something, tweak the data as you go, and get more insights.
I think that's so valuable also from the compliance side of things, that it's reminding you that there are compliance events that you need to attend to. Now, obviously, if you were needing to renew an insurance, you would receive a communication from your insurer. But what happens if it gets lost in the post, or you're on holiday or something. You have that extra level of reminding. And also at this juncture, that might be a time to review your insurance or your mortgage, and see if you can get a bit better deal. So these little reminders are all kind of action points where there's an opportunity for you to improve your bottom line as well. So that's what I like about them. We're moving on to the profit and loss module again. What's the best way to set my profit and loss analysis?
Okay, so this is important because this is like the way you start. I will try to give some hints how to make it easier. So once you enter the data on my portfolio, then go to profit and loss. First, you need to make sure you have all your monthly expenses in place, or the recurring expenses. So if you have like landlord insurance that you need to pay every 21st of the month, and you pay £18, make sure that the recurring expense checkbox is checked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can also upload receipt for this month, but if it's checked, click done, then the platform will carry it over every month. So you don't need to enter it again. The same for the ground rent. Make sure it's recurring. Managing agent fee, etc. Of course, that if you want to delete or remove some of the expenses to make it cleaner, you can do it easily by clicking on the remove. And of course, if you want to add another recurring expense that you have, like subscription or something like that, you can also put it here and mark it as a recurring expense. And then the platform will carry it over. Now, another hint, like for the history, let's say that you already paid this £18 for like the last 12 months, and you want to update your historical view. So easily do it by copy expenses backwards. When you click on it, make sure you are like on the last month that this expense is tracked. Click on it, and then just, I want now to copy the landlord insurance. So check landlord insurance. I want to copy it starting January 2018 to May 2020. It was the same expense payment. Copy expenses and close the window, and you can see now that
Got it. Yeah.
we have.
I think, Aviram, what we want to encourage landlords to do is to move away from analog ways of recording, because obviously the whole point of Lendlord is to act as a dashboard to run your landlord life. And I think a good example of that is a friend of mine, a landlord friend of mine, has a little book that she keeps in her car, and whenever she goes on a journey associated with her business, such as to check in a new tenant or do a midterm property inspection, or to go and buy some paint that's going to be used for refurbishment, she makes a little note in this book. Now, ideally, we want to move people away from those analog things that can be lost, could be stolen, could disappear somehow. Put it up into the cloud where it can be accessed 24/7, 365 from anywhere in the world. So let's say I've done a journey today to visit my holiday let in Dorset. That's a 120-mile round trip for me, so 240 miles total. How would I add that to Lendlord?
So click on Add Expense.
Yeah.
And you have a mileage here.
Yeah.
When you did it? Yesterday?
Yeah, let's say I did it yesterday. Yeah.
And let's say 120. It's not a recurring expense, and you should not check that because it's like a one-time, I believe. Because
One expense, yeah.
Okay, click on Done. And then your expenses on May will go up, of course, like one time. It will impact.
Okay, so sorry, just going to stop you there, Aviram. I would need to do 120 miles at 45p a mile. So I would need to calculate that, and whatever that figure is, put that in, wouldn't I?
Yeah. perhaps in the future we can add, some calculator for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Is there a way for me to say visit to Dorset Holiday Let? Is there a little sub way for me to just tag it as that that visit?
Yes, so you can rename
yeah,
and mention that it was
visit to Holiday Let. Yeah, to do annual inspection. Perfect.
And then you can track it, and of course, like when you export it, you can export it to a spreadsheet. You can see you can show your accountant like what was the description of this expense.
Fantastic. So it's just about being disciplined, and when you've done something, an action such as this, just to think at the end of the day, right, I need to go back to Lendlord and just pop that information in. So moving on, yes, I mean, obviously we've talked about in other videos about how Lendlord is monetized, how we can monetize it, in order for it to remain free to users, and we've already transparently said that it's going to be monetized via generating mortgage leads for brokers. So, one of the ways to really benefit from Lendlord is to use the alerts to take the opportunity, as I said earlier, to see if you can get a better deal. So one thing you need to understand about Lendlord is that it could actually save you money.
Right, yeah. One note on the monetization: when we are generating leads, so the user will get a notification, and he will need to choose if he wants to use our provider or not. We will not pass on his details without his explicit permission. In terms of the potential savings on finance, this is like the focus right now, but we will continue to add potential savings on other aspects in the future. What we do is we capture the lender's criteria items on our platform, and we analyze the portfolio of the user. And by that, we basically can get some indication on which lenders are available for this user for his new application, and which lenders are not, and why. Our engine goes every week, scan your portfolio, and look at the market. If there are better rates that now are available for you, and it can be perhaps something has changed in your situation. So you can just go down from 10 properties to 9 properties, or from 4 to 3 or 3 to 2, and then perhaps better rates can be available for you. We will find this opportunity, and you will get a notification and the details. And the details takes into account early redemption fees. So if we go back to the data that you need to enter, if you, in my portfolio, you updated your early redemption fee on this mortgage product, it will help our engine to understand if it's still it's worth to remortgage or not, because you need to know that if you are going to remortgage in the middle of a fixed rate term, then you will need to pay early redemption fees. So our platform basically can capture that, and accordingly we can tell you, okay, we found a better rate. This is just an example, yeah. So your current payment can go down to this payment. Your end date will change for this fixed term, but pay attention that you need to pay this amount in early redemption fee. But still, you can save 7,000 pounds for the entire period, and 284 on a monthly basis. So it's, of course, it's up to you to decide if you want to do it, but the platform will give you this indication every week. One important note: you should assess all of those results with a mortgage broker. This is a result. So it's not 100% accurate, we should say that, but it can, of course, give you some indication and some information to go with it to your broker or to use our provider. But it definitely can give you some information to work with.
That's a great example you used, Aviram, because I had an incident before I started using Lendlord where I went to do a remortgage and I made rather a rookie error. I didn't realise that it was still within the early repayment charge period. So when I got my completion statement, I was alarmed to see that there was an ERC of about £7,000. Now, obviously, if I'd been using Lendlord at the time, then I would have had that information documented properly, and I would have seen that there was an ERC. So I think, again, just there's so many little tricks and hacks here that are going to help you be a more efficient landlord, with using this data to your benefit. So very quickly now, the last question, really important to understand that with Lendlord, you can customize and filter your portfolio to see it in the exact format that you want.
Right. Yeah. So we provide a default spreadsheet, but because you have so many fields that you can enter data to, you can decide which fields you want to see on your table, on your spreadsheet. And you can also play with the order by drag and drop. So let's say I want to see the date of purchase as my first column. Click on done, and you can see that the table has changed. You can also decide that you don't want to see the ownership, okay, let's say, or the original mortgage balance. Click on done, and the view will change. You can also order by any column, and it's very nice for dates. So you can order by dates, you can order by values. So this is like another way to look on your portfolio. You can filter by any text, the table. It can also be for numbers. So basically the search here is searching everything, like with all columns. So it's very good tool to use. And you have the predefined filters on the top, and you can play with the ownership. So you can, if you want to see your portfolio only on your private properties, you want to see your company properties, or even like if you want to see your properties under different companies, you can also play with the owners themselves. If you want to see only Kate's property or Kate and John together. And in a new version that we will be releasing hopefully next week, you will also be able to filter by a specific property, and you can see like a combination of properties together. And you can also add prospect properties, and you can see like how your portfolio will look like in some kind of a what-if scenarios.
Fantastic. So as you can see, there is so much to Lendlord, and really the best way that you can start to get to grips with it is to register for a free account and just start inputting your data and start looking around and start pressing buttons and see what happens. You're not going to lose anything or damage anything just by pressing buttons trying to get a feel for it. So that is the end of this little instructional educational webinar, Lendlord Cross Property Tribes. Stay tuned for more. They're going to be on our YouTube channel here at Property Tribes, also on Lendlord's YouTube channel, and of course on propertytribes.com itself. That is where all our discussions are hosted, so please jump across to propertytribes.com, and also while you're here, please like, click and subscribe. We really do appreciate that. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.